Hi, welcome to iClimb. I'm Jessie Hillock. I'm a speech-language pathologist with area of specialty in cognitive challenges that individuals can experience when they're living with neurodegenerative diseases. And today we're going to talk about driving assessments. So as a speech-language pathologist, I am not the one to administer a driving assessment, but I'm often the one that notices that an individual might be demonstrating some challenges when it comes to those executive function frontal lobe skills. So things like problem solving, safety, following directions, topic maintenance, cause and effect. Those are things that often, if somebody's experiencing those, it's going to translate also over to driving. Another thing that I notice when I work with my clients is the visual spatial changes that can happen. Thinking that an object might be closer or further away than what it really is. And that can be very concerning for family members when they're riding with their loved one when it comes to driving. So often I recommend going and speaking with your physician about having a driving assessment. So I'm going to talk to you about what that process looks like. So when you go to your physician and you talk about having a driving assessment, sometimes this can be really uncomfortable. So I have some family members that will actually type up a letter and hand to the doctor's nurse prior to walking into the appointment, so that it is the doctor that's bringing up the driving assessment and not the spouse. Because it is just a really challenging conversation to have. And what that driving assessment will look like is that it is done by an occupational therapist. The occupational therapist, either you would see one who works in an outpatient clinic and you would travel to them, or there are also occupational therapists who do driving assessments that will travel to your home. Some of these services are covered by insurance and some are not, depending on what occupational therapist that you work with. And what this often looks like is it will start with a paper exam. It's not that neuropsych exam that maybe your loved one has experienced that's 4 hours long. This is typically just more of a paper assessment that may take 10 minutes or more to do. And if your loved one does well on that, then they will move on to possibly a simulated assessment. And if they do well on that, then that is when they actually get to hit the road. And with an occupational therapist who has a car, just like when you would have done your driving test when you were younger, and the occupational therapist has the brakes and everything on her side or on their side. And depending on how an individual does with that will determine whether or not it's recommended that somebody continue to drive. Maybe it's recommended that they only continue to drive within their familiar settings, so they wouldn't be doing any cross-state travel or anything like that. Or you might hear that it's recommended that your loved one retire from driving. So oftentimes, again, this is just a very challenging thing to talk about, and it takes a lot of family discussion on when should we do this, is it time to do this. We recommend really talking with your doctor, talking with your doctor's nurse. Things to look for could be your loved one has gotten lost. A lot of people will download what's called the app 360 on their phone so that they can make sure if there is ever a time where somebody gets lost, they can track and locate them so they're able to help go and find them. Some people, they will just say that maybe they're going to drive the longer distances. They might look for things like scratches on the car. They might, look for things like dents, things like that. But if you're starting to question driving, if you're starting to question your loved one's driving, that usually means that by the time you've started questioning it, it is time to seek guidance and help from your physician.